What are the best graphite drawing supplies? In this video, I'm going to share with you my go-to graphite drawing supplies that I use for my art. And be sure to stick around until the end, and I'm going to share with you my favorite tool and how I use it. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. I am Jessica Matheny, the artist of Jessica Matheny Fine Art. On this channel, I do tutorials and tips as well as time lapses of my artwork. Let's go ahead and get into the graphite drawing supplies that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. First on my list would definitely have to be my Staedtler mechanical pencils. I have them in the 0.3, 0.5, and 0.7 millimeters. I definitely use my 3 millimeter the most because I'm a person who likes a lot of detail in my work. I also have 2.5 millimeters that I use for detail work as well, and a 0.7 that I don't actually use a whole lot. In using these Staedtler mechanical pencils, I happen to like them the most because they do feature a little wheel on them. If I can get that in focus. Here, you can rotate it to list what type of lead hardness you actually have in your mechanical pencil so that you can keep track of what you have. If you don't have a little wheel on them to tell you what lead hardness is in them, you can always put a piece of tape on it and write down what lead hardness you put in it. Mechanical pencils means that you can always have a consistent sharpness when you're working on your drawings, and that does have some benefits as well as drawbacks. Benefits would be if you're working on fur and you like a lot of detail, this is a great way to do it. I happen to use my mechanical pencils the most while I'm drawing. So the drawbacks to using mechanical pencils would have to be that your lead hardnesses are very limited. So you have your standard HB lead, which is what most mechanical pencils come with, and I have only been able to find a 4B as the softest lead. So my second item on my list would definitely have to be my Faber-Castell 9000 art set. And this is a graphite pencil set that comes in a full range from F to 8B. 8B being one of the darkest or softest leads that you can use, and it definitely makes a good difference in your work to have a soft lead and a hard lead. So the perks to using these pencils would definitely have to be that they are made very well and they hold up their sharpness really well. So even the 8B, which is one of the softest leads that you can have, it maintains its sharpness really well. So when you put pressure to it, it doesn't crumble or break, or at least I haven't had any problems with that in my work. Definitely have to be the lead types for my mechanical pencils, and I use the Ain as well as the Uni. And the Ain is a 4B, and this has been the only 4B I have been able to find. I did buy it on Amazon, in case you're wondering. The Uni brands, which has 2B, and I did buy an HB, brands hold up really, really well. I haven't had any issues with them whatsoever with breakage, apart from my the 3 millimeter ones are really, really tiny. So you want to make sure that when you're cranking out the lead in your mechanical pencil that you don't put it out too far or it will break. So the next items on my list would have to be my erasers, and I use a number of them. I'm going to quickly go over these. So my first ones would be my kneadable erasers. I have two of them. One that I use for just erasing mostly sketches or areas that I'm not looking to pick up a whole lot of the medium that I put on there. The other one is very, very sticky, if you can see the color difference between them. This one I have used a lot, and it is extra tacky. So in using this one, it's very, very nice to be able to mold it to the way you want and just tap it on your work and it will lift off the graphite in the way that you would like it to. My other two erasers would be my Faber-Castell pencil eraser a brush at the end so you can brush off the little pieces of eraser after you erase a part of your drawing, which is really nice, so then you don't have to use your hand and risk smudging your work. This one can be sharpened down with a pencil sharpener to a finer point than this, and it comes in really handy for erasing just little teeny areas of your work that you do need to apply pressure. The other eraser is my Tombow Mono eraser, and this is one of the most narrowest erasers that you could probably ever get. And it comes in even more handy for getting those little tiny areas in your work. So my next items would have to be my blending sticks, and I have two of them, a small one and a large one, as well as Q-tips. So with these, you can blend little tiny areas because it does come to a point, and you can do that too with the Q-tips, but not as well as the blending stumps. The drawbacks to using these would definitely have to be, if you can see, they're actually pretty dark. So as soon as you start blending an area over time, it collects on the stump and you can't get it off. So if you go to blend a dark area first and then try to blend a lighter area after that, you will smudge it and put some of that dark graphite on your light area. So you need to make sure that you're using a clean blending stick if you're blending light areas, and keep your dark ones for your dark areas. So the next item on my list would have to be my electric pencil sharpener, and this one I found is really great because it has 3 sharpness settings that you can adjust for whatever you like. If you have more brittle pencils or a lighter lead softness, you can adjust it to a higher setting or a lower setting. And the only drawback to using this pencil sharpener that I've found is that the hole at the top doesn't fit thicker pencils. So if you're using a thicker pencil, it may not fit in there at all. Like, I have no problem with my Faber-Castell graphite pencils fitting in there and sharpening them, as well as my colored pencil work. My Faber-Castell polychromos colored pencils fit in here really well to sharpen, whereas my Luminance pencils, because they're just a little bit thicker, they do not fit in here well. I do manage to get them in here to sharpen them, but I have to apply some force to get them to fit. One of the convenient features of this sharpener is that it is battery operated, so you can carry it around with you and set it anywhere that you need to within range, or you can also plug it in to a wall. So the next item on my list would have to be the type of paper that I use. I use Strathmore medium 80-pound drawing paper. And this paper I've been using for a number of years, even as a child. And I have to say it's probably my favorite paper to work with. I think that the medium texture has a lot of perks to it. It allows you to get a little more depth in your drawings, whereas something that's flat like Bristol, you won't be able to get as many layers, and that's especially true when you're working with colored pencil. I find that having more tooth to the paper allows you to put more layers on your work. So the next item on the list would have to be my proportional divider. And if you're drawing and sketching, this is one of the most handiest tools that you could probably use to make sure that you are drawing something proportionate to whatever you're looking at. That could be in real life, or it could just be a reference photo. So there's handy ways that you can use this tool. You can adjust this slider here for if you are measuring real perspective, like outdoors things, and it will proportion it down to what you should be drawing on your piece of paper. Or what I usually use it for is just my reference photos and making sure that the distance between certain areas of my work, like I draw animals, so the eyes to the nose to the length of the jaw, is all proportionate to what it should be in my reference photo. So the next item on my list for drawing would have to be Glassine. You can buy it in rolls on Amazon, and this is just a translucent material of paper, kind of like wax paper. You can see through it, and you can put this over your work and rest your hand on it so that you don't smudge your work while you're drawing. There is Kind of a drawback to using this if you have clammy hands. Sometimes I tend to have clammy hands, and so when I'm drawing and I have that down, it tends to stick to my hand, so then I have to pull it off and re-put it down on my work to put my hand down again, which kind of gets annoying. But over time, if you know, moisture warps paper. So then eventually I've had enough time go by when my glassine gets warped enough that it starts to just roll up on me, and I keep having to unroll it, hold it down with one hand while still drawing, and that does kind of get annoying. So my solution to this is that I just took a piece of glassine and trimmed the edges so that I could put it on a piece of cardstock. So that way I have the glassine on the underside, which is exposed to my artwork so that it doesn't pick up any of the medium that I'm putting on there. And the cardstock is what I'm resting my hand on so that my hand does not stick to it. So here is my cardstock that I have with the glassine on one side and the cardstock on the other side. I have just cut it to a fine corner, wrapped it around, and secured it with just some Scotch tape. That is it for my complete list of graphite drawing supplies that I use and I would recommend using if you are drawing. I apologize if there are any points in this video where the audio has cut off while I am talking. I am using my phone to record and it may not be the best option. So I will have a complete list of all the items I've talked about in this video in the video description. So now I'm going to demonstrate why this Tombow Mono eraser happens to be my favorite tool that I use for drawing. And that is because you can file it down to even a thinner point than it already has. And to file it down, I'm just going to move it back and forth, keeping just that one pressure point. So it's got this one side filed down, and the other side's still round. I'm going to turn it over so that the filed side is on the top, and I'm going to file down the other side. And now let's come to a nice edge with two sides being flat. So now I can go here and I can erase and make little white hairs. So when you're drawing fur, you can kind of get a little bit more narrow area. What are your favorite graphite drawing supplies? Let me know in the comments section. So on this channel, I'm getting pretty close to 500 subscribers. I would like to thank everybody for all of your support, your comments and likes, and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And to celebrate that, I'm going to be doing an artist shout out for 3 artists. So if you would like to be featured in my artist shout out video, go ahead and just drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know that you would like to be featured. And thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos just like this.